Hello and welcome to My Family Empowerment. My name is Tish, and today is Marketplace Monday. I am so excited because I have a special guest with me. We have, I don't know, it's been maybe less than a year that we've met, and just a brilliant person. Personality is amazing, and she loves people, loves serving people. And so this is why we connected. And I'm so glad she's here today, Miss Hollin De La Cruz. How are you today?
Hi, Tish. Thank you so much. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be able to share some information with you today. Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to collaborate with you and my family empowerment.
Thank you for saying yes. You know what? I think all of us need to be partnering and collaborating because we all have something to offer, and it's so good to just sit down and have a chat with people and learn more about their organizations. Even though we had a great chat at that new place you invited me to, first time going there, so it was good to know all of these gyms in Grand Rapids, right? So tell us, Helen, tell us a little bit more about you, your organization, so that we can learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the coordinator for the West Michigan Welcome Plan Collaborative. The West Michigan Welcome Plan Collaborative is a community-led initiative with roughly 50 organizations at the table across sectors, businesses, nonprofits, government departments, schools, universities, all working together um, in our collaborative work groups. So we have different work groups that prioritize different areas from education, access to services, community safety, engaging communities, and economic potential. The team works collaboratively across organizations in an effort to foster a more welcoming and inclusive West Michigan for immigrants, refugees, and new Americans. The goal is to empower our community to move from really like surviving to thriving because we want them to stay here. And so, a little bit about myself: I born and raised in Grand Rapids. My education and experience is in language and linguistics. I'm fluent in Spanish and in French. I've been coordinating the collaborative for a little over 2 years. I came up on my 2 year on June 13th. But I've been working with our international community in West Michigan in some capacity since about 2012 when I got my first job in adult education through the Literacy Center of West Michigan. Um, when I am not wearing my coordinator hat, I'm just enjoying time outdoors with my husband, my three daughters, going to see live music, regular dance parties in our household,
Wow.
just staying connected with our amazing community here in West Michigan.
Right. So with all of that, you stay busy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So what really drawed you to this kind of work with working with immigrants, different diversities? What drawn you to that?
Yeah. So I have told you a little bit about my background as far as like education goes, but from a very early age, I was just like fascinated by other languages. I wanted to
Mm,
travel, see the world. I got to spend some time volunteering on a farm in South America in Chile. I studied abroad in Montreal and then in France, and really just got to see the incredible diversity in different languages and different communities around the world. And when I came back
mm.
to West Michigan, I was just determined to stay connected with the global community and try to be able to leverage my skills to work alongside these amazing individuals who have moved from around the world and now call West Michigan their home.
Right, right. So I want to pick your brain. So how many people you think you've met right now to serve as part of your organization? How many people you think have walked through your doors seeking, saying, "I need help, Alan"?
That's a great question. So I connect regularly with immigrant and refugee leaders who are seeking to help their communities, walk alongside them and provide lot of different services, from like transportation to connection to education, resource navigation, those sort of things. And so I regularly hold meetings with folks interested in getting involved. I would say, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 a month over the last 2 years. So we, as a collaborative, um, the folks providing direct services are the organizations that are part of our work groups. We have a few direct services, like our quarterly workshop series that we've just started. We're working on a few toolkit events, but really the folks that are at the boots on the ground are organizations that are part of our collaborative work groups, and kind of identifying areas, gaps in services. And we're looking to make sure that people are connected, communicating with each other, and collaborating wherever feasible.
Right, right. So you said you've been in your position, anniversary year this month, right? For 2 years?
Yeah.
3 years. Okay. So tell me, how did this thing come about? How did it develop, this welcome plan of West Michigan? How did it come about?
Yeah, that's a great question. There is some background and context pre Hollin as the coordinator. And so we, as in our community, I'm using that we, we began the research phase of the Welcome Plan back in 2018 through a grant through an organization called Gateways for Growth. So the first step was we had a group of organizations, nonprofits, chambers of commerce, municipalities who said, hey, let's look at the economic impact of new Americans refugees in Kent County. We know that immigration brings not only wealth and numbers, wealth and diversity, but there's just a huge impact of our new American neighbors on our gross domestic product, on our entrepreneurs. And so they did an economic impact report back in 2018. And would be happy to share that with you as a follow-up. We have since redone that economic impact report with more updated data in Kent and Ottawa counties. So what we found, no surprises, were that immigrants contribute enormously to our economy, not to our population, to our talent pool. And so the next step of support was through doing a technical assistance for a tailored welcoming initiative. And so there was a lot of research and community engagement that went into that. This is now 2019. There was 800 surveys completed that were available in 7 different languages. There was roughly 25 focus groups, all to bring together Americans, immigrants, and refugees, and really see what are your priorities? What are your barriers to your priorities? How can we come together as a community to make, move the needle and be more welcoming and inclusive to folks that are coming in and folks who have been here for maybe decades. And so that research phase was about a year. Then there was a task force of roughly 40 organizations across sectors. Again, I'm talking businesses, universities, schools, nonprofits, ethnic-based community organizations that came together and said, okay, these are our findings. What does that look like in a welcoming document? And so the Kent County Welcome Plan was launched in 2020. The collaborative was 2022. And then in 2023, we received funding through the Office of Global Michigan to expand our collaborative efforts to West Michigan, including Kent and Ottawa counties, to try to increase collaboration across the region. And then I have counterparts. There's a coordinator in Southwest Michigan, a coordinator in Michigan, and a coordinator in Southeast Michigan. So I have counterparts in different regions across the state and get to meet with those folks monthly and just kind of brainstorm together what's working, what's not working, what are you guys up to, and really bounce ideas off each other, which has been incredibly valuable to me, as this position didn't really exist prior. So still learning as we go along.
Awesome. My goodness, that's a lot of moving parts, right? So speaking of, I went to the website and I got some statistics and from your website. It says in 2018, immigrants from in Kent County paid 376 million in taxes. That's a lot of money. Wow. So they
Yeah.
contribute, and that is telling us they are contributors to, of course, our economy here.
Huge. Yeah.
And then, yeah. So, and then it says leaving, this is how much they are contributing 1.1 billion in spending power. That's amazing. You never,
Mm-hmm.
until I read that on your website, I didn't know, I didn't have a clue. Because you
Yeah.
know what? You don't see, well, I guess in my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, I don't see a lot of, you know, a diversity over here, if you will, right? And I remember though, my first person that I've helped get a home, he was an immigrant. So, and he had someone helping him too along in the process. But we ended up closing the deal. He ended up getting a new home. And it was just amazing though, just to learn. And I think he was part of a movie. I can't think of the movie that he was a part of. And it was a documentary. So it
Okay.
was amazing. I'm like, okay, I got a celebrity over here. But it was good. It was good. It was nice meeting him. So, and also I just want to say these statistics so people will know. As of 2018, 55,595 immigrants called Kent County home. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's roughly 8-9% of the population. And when you look at different like cities, even larger, like I think they make up 17% of the population in Kentwood, 11 in Wyoming. I'm trying to remember the statistics, but like there's a large amount, and that's just census data. And we know that not
Right,
everybody feels. So there's
right,
more
exactly.
than
But for them
that.
to even count that number is huge. So they say it's 8.6 of the county's total population. You said it was 11. So you know the numbers are going to be a little off.
That's in like different cities within. So like
Okay.
8 Kent County, but if you look at like Kentwood, for example,
Yeah.
immigrants
Yeah.
make up 7% of the population in Kentwood.
Mm,
So when you look at
okay.
like or like specific areas where the population is denser, then you're going to see
Yeah.
that big percentage.
Awesome. Awesome. So now here's the big question because you know we are in an election year coming up, right? So it says, according to your website, as of 2018, 20,649 immigrants were eligible to vote. Do we see it increasing? Do you think it's has grown since 2018?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you even think about like how many new arrivals have come since 2018, and there's a pathway to citizenship. Like you have to have your permanent residence to be able to even apply for citizenship. I believe you have to be a permanent resident for 5 years. So
Oh,
there's also some data on like who's eligible to become a citizen, because you have to be a citizen to vote, and how many people are actually citizens. And there is a pretty big discrepancy there. So what we would love to see is more folks getting access to that citizenship process, and applying, and becoming citizens and being able to vote, because they do make up a significant portion of our population. So we'd
yeah.
like those voices at the polls.
Exactly. Like you all over here, you got to do your part too. So let's turn the corner here and go back to some of your programs. So this is why we saw the numbers where it's evident that we have a lot of immigrants here in West Michigan. So tell us when they come over, what type of programs can they get involved in and take advantage of?
Yeah. So I can tell you a little bit about initiatives within the Welcome Plan Collaborative and some of those deliverables that I talked about. Although we're not like a direct service provider, we do have some things that we organize as a collaborative. So one of those are our quarterly workshop series. And so the target audience for our workshop series are immigrant and refugee leaders. Either they have a small business or they're running a nonprofit or they're part of nonprofit. We have workshops that are tailored to increase their skills and knowledge in the granting process, nonprofit development, board development, trying to make sure that organizations that are doing just a huge amount of welcoming work are getting access to funding to be able to do it, to be able to increase capacity. And so we're coming up on our 5th workshop of our quarterly workshops. We've covered topics like how to develop a successful grant budget, nonprofit like foundation, what am I missing? Oh, nonprofit board development.
Mhm.
We're going to be doing our 4th quarter of this fiscal year just on how to find grants. That's been a huge question. Where are the grants? How do I get access to grants? And
Mhm.
I discovered from one of our amazing facilitators that the Grand Rapids Public Library has a small business resource center. They have
Mhm.
a database of grants and foundations, and you just have to meet with a librarian there, and he can help people navigate it. So Steve Asarian with the Grand Rapids Public Library is collaborating with us on our next workshop, and we're hopeful that participants will be able to leave that workshop with a grant that they want to work on. And then all of our workshops, we try to do like a follow-up, like tangible, okay, what am I going to do with this information now? And so we've coordinated with grant writers to host one-on-one appointments with the workshop participants. So they can say, okay, I learned this in my workshop. How do I put this into practical use? And then they get to meet
Right.
with say, hey, this is what I'm working on. Like, please give me your feedback. And so those have been really fun. I've learned so much, like so much that I had
Right.
no idea. And we've also had a few organizations that have been successful on their first grant, which is just amazing. And just seeing,
Yeah.
their pockets, like that's the goal. Like we want to empower our community to be more successful, to have access to these really unique systems in the United States. Like not grants are pretty specific to the US. So
Yeah.
tools, get tools in their toolkit to be more successful. Um, the other thing that we are working towards right now is a summit in September for
Okay.
folks who come to the United States with professional degrees and want to be able to leverage those skills. So there's
Mhm.
different credentialing processes and evaluation services in West Michigan. So
Mhm.
just increasing awareness of those, and also hoping to get more workforce development agencies informed on the process so we can kind of scale that service in West Michigan.
Right.
Um, so that will be for folks who are residents who have degrees earned abroad, and
Mhm.
workforce development agencies that are hoping to come alongside community members to help them through that process. So networking opportunity to get to know the players who are helping with this, and also just as a resource to community members who may want to go through this process themselves.
Mhm.
Um, we're working on a toolkit for driver's licenses. So
Wow.
understanding, where do you go to get your driver's test? What
Mhm.
language can I take my driver's test in? What language can I study for the driver's test in? If I don't
Right.
speak one of those 9 languages, how do I get an interpreter? And just trying to increase awareness of that process so that we can get more
Right.
folks with driver's licenses and able to, support their families in that way, because we don't live in a big city where public transportation is incredibly
Mhm.
um, live outside of certain city limits. So
Right.
oh,
Right. And when you mentioned entrepreneurship, I saw the statistic in 2018, 2,031 immigrant entrepreneurs in Kent County. That's amazing.
yes, yeah, and that's a big draw for just like immigrants and refugees overall. Like being able to start your own business is sometimes the best way to get reconnected with your career, because it is challenging, and that's what we're hoping to bridge some barriers for that recredentialing process. But still, for some folks, it's like, no, it'd be easier for me to start over and start a business than to try
Yeah.
to get licensed as a doctor like I was in home country. So um,
Right.
it's like we have a huge communities of immigrants and refugees who are successful business owners in West Michigan.
Yeah, yeah. What would you say is one of the most difficult things about what the work that you do when you're working with people who need this kind of assistance?
Um, I think the most challenging thing overall is just like the time it takes to
Mhm.
get things organized and get things moving forward. Like for the first, I don't know, at least 6 months of our collaborative, it was just getting to know who's in the room, understanding the ecosystem of West Michigan, trying to invite folks at the table who maybe aren't or have been traditionally left off the table. So just
Mhm.
like trying to get everybody on the same page, get people to know each other and get establish that trust that's needed to
Yeah.
collaborate on this.
Right.
So that foundational relationship building is so important, but it's hard when you're like, I need this now, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't have time to wait.
Right.
So
Yeah.
to do that foundational, like let's get to know each other and build those relationships, but still be able to deliver a service that folks are able to access in a timely manner.
Mhm.
That's challenging.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like it's an important first step, right? You need to
Yeah.
trust the people that you're collaborating with before you can make moves.
Right. Absolutely. So tell me, if I'm an immigrant coming to Kent County, I'm trying to find out where are the resources who can help. They come across you. What is the first thing someone would? What would be the first step in the process?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's most important to the work that we're doing is that we have immigrant and refugee voice at every level of our collaborative, whether that's participating in work groups, just connected with our communications to learn about the different resources that are available, steering committee level, work group co-chairs. The first step is just to go to our website and fill out our engagement survey.
Okay.
Um, so Kent County newamericans.org is our website. Um, Interested in joining, there's a link and people can get connected. As soon as you fill out that link, I get an
Mhm.
email once a week of who's filled it out. I reach out to that individual and connect with them one-on-one to learn like how can we partner and what's be most advantageous for them. Do they have capacity to join a work group, or maybe it's, hey, I need this service now and I can make that warm referral to one of our community partners that are direct service providers. um, for a lot of folks, it's like connection to different like ethnic community based organizations and cultural associations. So understanding, I come from this country, I need services in this language. We can make that connection with the different organizations that are providing those services, because language barrier is probably
Yeah.
one of the biggest
Mhm.
hurdles for newcomers. But we have such a huge like community of folks who are established and have been here for a while. So connecting folks with organizations that have community navigation services, things of that nature. We've got some
Yeah.
in West
Yeah.
Michigan.
That is amazing. It really is. I mean, even the challenges are, where we're still learning, right? To really service to the point where they do develop a trust. Because I can only imagine coming to a foreign place. I don't know nobody, you know what I mean? And especially housing today. And you look at the expenses here, it's extremely high. So would housing be one? I know housing probably is one that is high on the list, and also transportation and jobs, right? Because some
And
most go
classes, English.
ahead.
Um,
English classes, yes.
there's definitely a lack of summer English classes. A lot of things that run either on the school year. Um, there are some like the literacy center is year round, but then they have a waiting list when it gets to that point of year because no one offers it. So just scaling that, having more
Yeah,
organizations that are able to support there is a huge one. But yeah, housing. I mean, there's just a crisis for everybody, right? You know that.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. But I can only imagine how it would be for someone coming from a foreign country trying to find housing. I mean, is because there's not enough for one. So now then you see landlords increasing that price as well. So if you're new to the area and I'm sure, I don't know, maybe you tell us, I'm just guessing here, that there are some programs from the government that they offer to help with housing. I'm not sure
Yeah.
specifically.
There's the newcomer rental that's available to newcomers, and it's a year program, so it's 12 months, up to $500 a month off their their monthly rent.
Okay.
So this is basically a partnership with the Michigan Department, the MISHDA.
Yeah. Yep.
But so it's through MISHDA. It's called the Newcomer Rental Subsidy. Be happy to provide a link to that if that's helpful to you, Tish. It's also on the resource page on our website. So we have resources specific for our immigrant and refugee community. All of the organizations that are part of the collaborative are on there. And then housing has specifically linked to the newcomer rental subsidy. My family empowerment is on our housing resource.
Thank you.
But yeah, we try to get folks and like I said, we're still new, so people even learning that that's something that we have available. Our resource page is still very much under construction, and we're still getting folks added on there. But the newcomer rental subsidy is specific for rentals, not specific to home ownership, which is other challenge stuff.
Right. And yeah, I've sat with a few families that was from, a different country, and how they do things, and how they of course see housing, because it can be 9, 10 people, 11 people in the house, and so my job was to find a property that would fit, you know what I mean? And that many, and also fit within their budget, so, and then too, making sure that we have documentation in terms of, applying for the loan process. So I've been in the mix of these things, and this is what prompted me to really like do a little more research, a little digging for resources, so that when I do sit down with families, I have a resource, the welcome plan that I can send. Like, hey, Miss De La Cruz is over there; she can help you out. And then to reading what you all have as the New American top priorities. I like this: freedom to work in my desired profession, freedom to maintain my culture, religion, and traditions, achieving desired level of English that you were saying, being actively involved in my children's education, that's abroad, having America's understanding of my culture. That is so key. We want to, even though they want to learn our culture, must want to learn about their culture as well. And then we talk about the different sectors of different organizations that are involved. I mean, this is a lot of work and requires a lot of partnerships and collaborations. So are you the main person that's out there collaborating with other organizations?
I am the main person coordinating that. So if folks want to get involved, they're like, hey, I work for XYZ organization, or I'm just a community member that's passionate about welcoming. That first step is just an appointment with Hollin, learning a little bit about folks' interests and their expertise, so that I can plug them into a work group that would be that they would be feel most beneficial in. So whether that's like education or access to services, community safety. But I'm the co-chair of the data and metrics work group. I attend our monthly with our steering committee. I meet with our other regional coordinators every month. And then I participate in as many work groups as feasible. There's 7 every month, and there's many planning committees. So depending on where my schedule overlaps, I join as many meetings as I can, just to be there to field questions. If folks are like, hey, is there a budget for this? Can we work towards this? Then I'm there in the room to be able to say, yep, let's do this. Or I don't have a budget for it right now. What's out there? How can we collaborate with other agencies? Or maybe we can collaborate on a grant and make it happen.
Right. And I think I initially learned about you through Teresa. She was a part of the COVID-19 clergy group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome.
yeah. So she would lead a lot of the meetings, of course, virtually during that time. Thank goodness we survived. Oh my goodness. And yeah, it was a blessing to come together and talk about what are we doing and how we are sharing that information about COVID-19, and what to look out for. Make sure you're telling your congregation to wear a mask. It was just, I will never forget that season of life. I will never forget it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me, what is the most rewarding, or tell us, part of your work? I mean, what gets you excited about the work you do?
Um, I think community success stories, when I hear like, for example, one of our grant participants with a local organization called Lake Clay, they're a group, a Congolese family who have started a nonprofit that focuses on arts and performances for the African immigrant community. And they're just an amazing organization. And they have been attending all of our grant workshops, our quarterly workshop series, and they received their first grant. So they like reached out and said, "Hey, we were successful on our first grant. Super excited to be a part of these workshop series and actually be able to have some like tangible connections. When I can make like a meaningful connection between two organizations that are doing something similar, so that they
Yeah.
can increase their capacity and their stretch and their outreach, like that's huge. So when I get feedback from the like community that we're working alongside, that this is helping, that's probably the most
Mhm.
rewarding part of my job. um
Right.
and it's just
Right.
so see people be successful,
Yeah.
and be connected and feel like they can make a difference in their communities.
Right. Tell me, or tell us, what are some of the needs that you have as an organization? Do you accept like donations? I mean, to keep going, what are there? Is there a need for the Welcome Plan of West Michigan?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest ways that people can support is volunteering time, whether that's at one of our like events in our planning committee in a work group. Um, we're always going after funding sources, different diverse funding sources. We have a fund development team working towards grant funding, but also towards getting engagement from local municipalities, because at the end of the day, like we want this to be, it's community led,
Mhm.
but local government, it should be important to local government too, right? Which is one of the reasons why I'm housed in Kent County,
Mhm.
and get support from our city of Grand Rapids and are doing outreach in other municipalities as well. Um, and then yeah, like if people are just looking for different volunteer opportunities with some of the organizations at the table, we always post their like events, or like, hey, they're looking for sponsors for this. I think connecting with our communications, we send out a weekly newsletter to share about like our workshops and different events we're planning, but also that's an opportunity for our community partners to post their events. So
Okay.
connecting there is seeing like, oh man, a Glimpse of Africa festival is coming up. They're looking for volunteers. Or we have Michigan Immigrant Youth Conference that we're on a planning committee for, and they need help in transportation. So
Okay.
just
Okay.
the power of community coming together, I think, is the most impactful. Contribute
Yeah.
time or expertise.
Right. Is there any upcoming event you want to highlight before we close out?
Yeah. So we have our global gathering, which is a
Mhm.
multicultural festival that we do. This will be our second year. So we had our inaugural gathering last
Okay.
September. We'll be
Okay.
doing it again. Where we hosted at Garfield Park. It's on September
Okay.
28th. We're looking for vendors to participate. We had 35 vendors last year. We had workshop
Wow.
presenters that shared like a cultural practice. We had an Ethiopian coffee ceremony workshop. We had a salsa dance workshop. We had folks basically
Wow.
coming and saying, "Hey, this is and something that I love doing, and I want to share it with you." So that was really, really fun. That's going to be on September 28th at Garfield Park from 11 to
Okay.
7. We got flyers and different ways to engage with that.
Okay.
Then the Michigan Immigrant Youth Conference is going to be September 21st at Wayne County Community College. So we're over on the southeast side of the state this year. Last year was our
Okay.
first year at Calvin University, but like I said, we're still looking, especially like transportation support, because we're trying to get
Mhm.
immigrant youth from across the state over to Wayne County College. Um,
Yeah.
and our Maximize Economic Potential Summit. That's going to be our event where we are engaging with community members and workforce development agencies on that re-credentialing process. And that's on
Oh, wow.
September 7th. So September is a big month. We got
Right.
September 27th, September 28th. I don't know what I was thinking in doing all September. I'm just one person that gets to plan, and I try to just surrender to the flow, right? Like, we'll
Right.
get it done.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm actually having, I think I sent you information about my October EduFest coming up, but I just want to also ask you if you want to share how they can contact you, what's the email address and where they can get onto your newsletter.
Yes, yes, yes. First step, we do have like a welcome plan email that both me and my communication specialist monitor. So that'd be the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's welcome@kentcountymi.gov. You can call our office, 616 632 7573. I'll follow up with you on these two, Tish, if you have links that can be shared.
Yeah.
Or our engagement survey. Like I said, that's a direct link to me. I'll set up a meeting with you. And that's available at our website, kentcountynewAmericans.org.
Great. Great. I will also, when I load this up, put your information in there so that all the links, so I'll make sure I get all your links so they can have that too. Any parting words, encouragement, inspiration, motivation you want to share before we part?
I just want to thank you so much for your time and allowing me an opportunity to share about what we're all about. I know that to do this work well, we have to do it together, right? Welcoming
Mhm.
communities are made up of welcoming organizations, of businesses are made up of welcoming people. So if we
Yeah.
want to do this well, it is like everybody together sort of situation, like immigrants and refugees and new Americans as a part of it, nonprofits, businesses, faith leaders. Like we um, we have a remarkable community and a ton of resources, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's just hard to get to the door that you need to get to, right?
True.
And so um, just hopeful and confident that we can form those meaningful relationships amongst each other and get people connected where they need to be connected
Yeah.
faster, right?
Yeah.
So just thanking everybody for their time. We'd love you to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
To
Mhm.
do this work, we got to do it together.
Right. Absolutely. Together, there is more power, right? More influence and impact, right? And that's the whole idea, to make sure that we can involve as many people as possible, because the labor, right? We need more laborers to be out here to help us on the front line, because there's so much work to do. And as we were stating, talking about, the statistics, there's so much that we can offer, as a community. And I'm glad I have come across you, and so glad that the just collaborating with different organizations, because we all have one goal, right? And that's to serve others, to help other families, other people, just to live life to their greatest potential, right? And surpass. There is opportunities out here. We just gotta, keep digging. And so by offering your services here today and sharing, it helps with people understanding that they are valued and everybody's worth talking about. We're talking about people who really deserve help. They deserve support. They deserve people, to realize that there are opportunities out here for them. And sometimes we don't know because, I don't know, it's like pockets. I don't want to say clicks, but there's some people in the know, and then there's some people like, I didn't even know about that. So we got to do better. I'm speaking for myself at dissemination of information. And so this is my little small part, my little small contribution to help families in this community, and hopefully wherever else that God's given me the grace to help. So on that note, thank you so much for those of you who are tuned into this interview with Miss Hollin De La Cruz. I like saying that. I don't know why. I just love saying that. I'm doing better with my Espanol. Is that Spanish? I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, my husband is born in Puerto Rico. His dad is Dominican. His mom's Brazilian. Kind of
Wow.
all over the place. We got family everywhere. So De La Cruz.
I love it. I love it. So I love saying De La Cruz because I'm still improving my Espanol. I'm taking classes in terms of online. So people like, Tish, she taking classes still. Yes, I still want to be fluent in Espanol.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you lose it. And I've had several years of it and didn't do nothing with it. And so I've lost it. So now I've actually did take a class, 2 summers ago, I think. And me and the instructor still could connect, and we talk, and she wants to help me with some things for the Spanish community. And so she's like, Tish, get it together. I'm like, I'm trying. I got so much going on, but I'm applying myself at least 15-20 minutes on this app that I have. I forgot, what is it called? But I have an app.
Duolingo.
And say it again.
Duolingo.
Not that one. It's another one it's another one that I'm sure you've heard before, because it costs a couple of dollars for sure. And I've been messing up because I haven't been staying on point because I got so much stuff going on. But I got to do it because I have a lot of Spanish speaking people like, Tish, no inglés. I'm like, see, I'm coming. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better. So Miss De La Cruz. So I want to have another meeting with you, another interview, so that we can just maybe every 6 months, and share with people what's going on, or however you want to do it, 6 months, every year, maybe every summer, however you want to do it, but just to get the message out there. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tish. Yeah, I'd love to reconnect, especially after all of this September. Would love to provide updates on those items. And just thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to share out. I really do appreciate you and appreciate my family empowerment, and I'm excited to be able to stay connected.
Thank you so much. So until next time, have an amazing day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.